Hello and welcome. I am Iron Raiden with a new topic of discussion, and I figured that this was a rather relevant topic to talk about, all things considered. One being that we do, in fact, have a new Scream film set to be released in early 2022. You may care, you may not care, who gives a shit? I'm a fan, I'm a horror fan in general. We'll see what happens. It's, of course, meant to be a new revitalization of the franchise, and of course, for this franchise being as meta as it is and meant to poke fun at a lot of tropes of horror. You have the original, and you have the second one is about sequels, the third one being the third act in the trilogy, the fourth having been about reboots and whatnot. So I'm curious to see how they're actually going to make this work, especially knowing that Wes Craven is no longer with us, who very much helped pioneer this franchise into what it's become, amongst other things. And so, yeah, again, curious to see what happens. But and it's simply titled Scream. It's not Scream 5, it's just Scream, of course, because reasons. That's how we do these days. But that's beside the point. And also, it's a relevant topic considering all the lackluster writing for these supposed strong female characters that we get so much of these days. And so, this is basically an appreciation video kind of breaking down why a Sidney Prescott, the main protagonist of the Scream franchise, is one of the best examples for a strong modern day female character. I mean, like a lot of these characters, like a Sarah Connor type, who just starts off just dealing with so much shit and yet progressively gets stronger as time goes on due to these traumatic experiences. I mean, she starts off as the girl next door, nice girl, all that stuff. You know, she's not into drugs, not into drinking. And knowing that this film plays on the tropes of that, knowing that, okay, as they break down the rules, you can never have sex, you can never drink or do drugs, and never ever say, I'll be right back, because you won't be back. And so, yeah, by the end of this film, spoiler alert if you happen to care, her boyfriend, Billy Loomis, happens to be one of the killers. And just prior to that, she actually sleeps with him. And going into some of the dialogue towards the end, they play off of that. It's like, okay, well, you're prone to get killed now because you are no longer a virgin. But of course, she overtakes that and breaks that mold even for that genre and manages to take out both of these killers. And of course, Scream 2, Scream 3, she continues to stand tall. But what makes this franchise, especially for this character, is that it feels very real with her. It never feels over the top with her character in particular. She always maintains her composure, in which each film you always see a little bit more growth with her character. And the funny thing is that no one will always talking about the toxic white male. And considering that she's taken out several toxic white males in this franchise, many have tried to kill her. One who happened to actually kill her mother. I mean, you got her boyfriend, you have his friend, the dude she knows in college, along with the mother of the killer from the previous film, Mrs. Loomis. And even her long lost brother happens to be the killer in Scream 3, and it's revealed that he is the one who killed her mother. So she has dealt with a really fucked up family dynamic. But yeah, you got all these toxic white males going after her, and yet she manages to stand tall each and every time. Hell, in Scream 3, they straight up fist fighting with one another. She is taking straight kicks to the face with a boot, straight punches, and they do it in such a way where it's so entertaining to watch, and you actually believe that she is taking this punishment and dishing out punishment of her own. And that's what I'm talking about. These characters have always been there, and she truly is one of the best examples. She is just a great character who has dealt with a lot of shit, but manages to grow and manages to become stronger each and every time through these experiences. And if you go back, you don't even have to be a horror fan. You don't even have to really be that big of a Scream fan. You can just appreciate the character that Neve Campbell, the life that she brings to Sidney Prescott. I mean, amongst horror fans in general, she is up there. I mean, you look at a Laurie Strode from Halloween, obviously, she's still going strong. They rebooted and shown her today as a survivor type from the experiences of the original film. But even all things considered, Scream may not be your favorite, but you may not even have to say it's necessarily the best horror film. But all things considered, you look at Sidney Prescott, she is perhaps the strongest protagonist of any of these franchises. And like I said, not just horror in general, but just film in general. And again, it just goes to show that these people have no idea what they're talking about. The entire horror genre in and of itself is 90% strong female characters. Strong female characters dominate the horror genre. It's not so often, that you actually get a male final guy, typically, coined as the final girl in a lot of these franchises. It's typically a girl. You go, hell, Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street. She is the, innocent girl who's dealing with all this shit, but ultimately defeats the evil. You watch Friday the 13th, any of them. I mean, pick and choose what you want. It's always a female. So, I mean, I know horror for a lot of people is probably lower on the totem pole as far as the art of film in a lot of ways. But of course, there's a lot of other great horror films that are more thriller-esque and more psychological, like The Shinings of the world and whatnot, The Silence of the Lambs, stuff like that. But you have to appreciate what is and what makes up most of that genre. And typically it is a, pictured just very nice, maybe a weakish type of girl, but overcomes a lot of trauma and ultimately defeats evil. And that's all there is to it, really. And so all these people that want to complain about that, you really can't say much, because that's just the way that it is. The females rock the horror genre. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You don't need to make a woke horror film because the formula was already there. You can complain about this trope and that trope, but it doesn't matter, because the main female usually does have a little bit of extra boost in the writing department and does offer a little something more. So you actually see their progression through the film and watch how they are able to overcome. And so that's that. And Sidney Prescott is really the best example of that, at least in my opinion. I mean, again, she's not over the top, and knowing that these films take place in the real world where all these films exist, she's a lot more grounded, and she's very, 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 very well written, and you can easily get behind her throughout the franchise. Now, what's going to happen with the new one? Will she die? I mean, that's a whole other discussion. But hey, again, just pointing these things out and to appreciate a character like Sidney Prescott. So I'm rambling now. That'll end it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe if you would. It would be appreciated. But as always, you have the free will to do whatever you want, like I have the free will to end this video and go watch Scream, maybe, because I can do that, and I can appreciate a proper strong female character taking out very toxic white males, you silly bastards. Anyway, I am Iron Rain, and I'll see you next time.